Hello there and welcome. Today you're getting a tutorial on Photopea, a photo manipulation software. Not software, it's actually a website that is shockingly close to Photoshop, and you can save and open up Photoshop files, and we can interchange them with the software at school, or if you have Photoshop at home too. So it's actually a pretty amazing website. I don't know how they get away with it and they don't get sued by Adobe Photoshop, but it's here and it works really well, so we're going to use it. So we're actually going to go and I'm going to show you by opening up a file from my computer. I'm going to I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm just going to go open up a picture of my dog Lily. This is Lily. And I'm going to go to my magnifying glass and I'm going to zoom in on Lily. Now, I want to just point out the first thing that we should probably just talk about is the resolution of all images. Like, all images are made up of pixels, which are just like little squares. If I zoom in, zooming in, you can see here that if I've got, I'm going to just click the selection tool. If I just go 1, 4, and all the way to say 10 by 10, that's 10 pixels this way by 10 pixels this way, I've got a total of 100 pixels selected. Well, that is a pretty low resolution image, but that's exactly what this Photoshop file is made up of, okay? It's just all these little images. If I back up and I just go all the way back to see the whole picture, if I go image and image size to see the size of my image, it's actually 5,000 pixels going left and right and 3,500 pixels going up and down. And so there's quite a lot of information there. Now, once we kind of get our head around that, I'm just going to exit out of that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Once we get our head around that, then you just start thinking about these pixels as just data. That's when you get to have a little bit of fun. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this data, no different than what you are selecting words on or letters on on your Google slideshow or your Google Doc or Microsoft Word document. It's like a paragraph. You're selecting, you're cutting and pasting it. We're going to copy and paste just this type of information. So let's select it first. So I'm going to go and I'm going to select along here. I got the Lasso tool selected, and I'm just going to select along here. Okay. Now, when I let go of this, it's going to take those two endpoints and join them together, like so. Now, that can actually be kind of problematic. Let me back up, and I'm going to deselect. Because if I were to go and say along here and then select, and then I let go, well, then that's got the background selected. In fact, I got a little bit of this and I got a little bit of that selected. That's problematic. So you just got to make sure that if I were to do something like that, if I were to come up and I'm just going to exaggerate by going up here, that if I were to just loop around, I think it's very important for you to loop around so that when the two endpoints join, then you've got what you want selected, okay? Now, if I want to, let's click on the hand tool and move over a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do a better job. All right, so now let's actually do a better job of cropping out Lily. Just going to go along here and here and here. It's hard to kind of distinguish her hair from the leaves, but let's just do there, okay? Now I'm going to click on this hand tool just to move over. That makes things a little bit easier, but, and magnifying tool just to back up a little bit. Now this is going to be, we're not going to worry too much about the details. Now I want to add to this selection here, because if I were to go along here and I start selecting, it's going to make this disappear. I just got this. I just made a new selection. Undo. Let's add to that selection. All I'm going to do is, as I'm working, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and that will just allow me to add onto it, okay? And then again, I'm going to loop around and get a good chunk. That worked out pretty good. Hand tool, move around. I can zoom out if I want. Just make things a little bit easier on myself. However, I will say though that, okay, Shift key, adding to this, it's a heck of a lot easier to be more detailed. There we go, got a good chunk, if you're zoomed in. So like say Let's go to here. So I personally, I think that maybe zoom in like this. Maybe I'm going to close this box here just so I can see a little bit more. And then I'm just going to go along. There we go. Now, this is where people will kind of forget. They will kind of go along, and then they will just kind of do a chunk like this, and then they will let go, and they got a little bit here, and then they got like a little bit here, and then they will go here, and then they will get like a little bit here, and they will get here, and then they kind of get trapped. Think, oh no, what have I done? Well, don't worry. What you can always do is just you can engulf it. You can just kind of go, and you can just add to your selection, because you want to have a good portion of it selected. Okay. Well, let's back out a little bit. There we go. And we're just going to add to it. Let's just go, and I'm expecting you to do a pretty good job of this. There we go. And come all the way around, so that way we got a good portion of it selected. Let's do her whole bottom half here. And there we go. And I'm actually whizzing through it. I'm hoping that you're going to, just because I'm trying to be quick here. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then let's just go up here. And actually, if I use the scrolly wheel, it kind of moves me up and down. That can be helpful. Okay. And if I hold down the Alt key, that's a nice way of zooming in and out. Okay. Kind of zooms in on that area, zooming in. So that can be helpful. And then you can just fine tune with the hand tool. That is very helpful. Now, don't forget, like if you happen to come along, and I'm just going to do this quick again. All right. And if you happen to have this, you can just, again, engulf it. Well, that was helpful. I used the scrolly wheel. And let's just get a good chunk here. Okay. And then I want to be detailed with this. So, and you can actually start to see the pixels. So I'm going to actually, you can actually go down and really have it perfect right down to the pixel. And me, I used to do this sort of thing for a living. Actually, I guess I still do. But I used to do it professionally, and you definitely needed to make sure that you did it down to the pixel. There we go. And you can kind of see there's a few areas that I would like to do. Okay, so now let's back up. I'm going to zoom back out. And actually, let's just do that and just zoom back out. Now, I've got Lily selected. I'm not done with this yet. I want to copy her, and I want to paste her down. And so you see, if I were to just go Edit and Copy, and then what I'm going to do is introduce you to the Layers tool. It's just over here. You got this dialog box up. Yours should show up automatically. And you've got this background layer right here. It's kind of the layers palette. And I can turn that off, and I can turn that on again. Now I've got Lily selected here. If I want to paste her down, I'm going to hide this, and then I'm going to paste. I've copied it, and I'm going to paste it back down in the same document. Do you want? Yes, I do want to allow. And so there's Lily. I'm going to click the Move tool here, and now I've got her in her own separate layer here. And so if I show this background layer now, you've actually got like two dogs here. Okay, if I paste it back down, there she is again. And we got like a whole team. We got a whole. They're pulling the dog sled or something. Okay, so, but what I want to do is I actually want to put Lily in a different environment. So let's actually open up. Let's go to, I'm going to go to Google Images. Yeah, I got this, oh, this pops up at school all the time. That just drives me nuts. Let's go to Google. And I'm going to just go to like surfer wave, okay? And then I go to images, and you've got all sorts of like waves showing up here. I've got this like that. Okay, so we've got these waves here. We got this guy. Actually, I think I'm gonna, which one do I want to do? I think this one will be good. Now, it's also interesting to note that when you click on them, you see how that says 1600 by 1900 down here. That is the resolution. So there's 1600 pixels going this way and 900 pixels going this way. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy that. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to Photopea, and there, I'm getting rid of these ads. You'll have ads up there, but we're not going to have ads today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in, going to edit and paste in that surfer image. Now you're going to see something that's kind of funny. Here it is here. Actually, you don't even see it because it's so small. Let me back up. There it is there. That's because it's trying to fit 1600 pixels by 900 pixels in an image that's like 5000 by 3500. So it's just kind of using up that many pixels. It's kind of matching it pixel by pixel. Let's blow that up to fit the whole page. So I'm going to go Edit and Free Transform, and you'll notice that when we do that, you've got these commands next to it, Alt, Control T. It always tells you, just like paste or copy is Control C, cut is Control X, free transform is Alt Control T. So that's good to just, as you get better, you get to notice and remember this stuff. So let's just go, and you get these, so now I've done that, I've got these handles, and I'm going to make that bigger. Okay, and you see how I can stretch it like that? If I hold down the Shift key, there we go, I'm going to make it bigger. Okay, and then we've got this guy here. Okay, I'm going to hit Enter, and then I've just kind of activated that transformation. I hit Enter and I activated that transformation. Now you'll see I don't see Lily anymore, because if I look at my layers here, I've got the surfer, and I've got a couple of layers of my dog that I've cropped out, and then because I copied and pasted in her in there multiple times, and then I've got the background layer. So like if I turn off that layer, if I click on the eyeball to turn it off, then you can see I've got the team of dogs here. So if I were to take that, layer and move it in behind, there, like move it down here, so these layers are on top of that layer, well, that's exactly what happens. These dogs are now on top of that layer, okay? So let's get rid of this layer. I'm going to get rid of that one, and we're going to trash that. Okay, and then we're going to work with this one. So let's zoom in. Okay, and I want Lily to kind of look like she's going to be there a little bit. We're going to go Edit and Free Transform, and holding down the Shift key to keep her proportional. So now I'm going to turn on the Shift key. There. Now I'm holding it down, and now going to put her as if she's kind of surfing instead. Now her angle's a little wrong here. I'm gonna, if I hold my mouse out here, you see how I can then rotate her. Okay, and I'm just gonna cover up, and then I'm gonna hit Enter to activate that transformation. Now obviously it doesn't look perfect here. So what I'm going to do, actually let's Control Alt T. I'm going to rotate her a little bit more and shrink her down a little bit more. But I'm seeing more of that guy. I want to try and cover up as much of that guy as I can. Okay, and then hit Enter. And then I can do a couple of things, like we'll just say that her legs are covered by the waves and that. So I'm just going to go to the eraser tool here. And now just got to make sure that that eraser tool is. Now I'm going to make that's my eraser brush. Now let's zoom in. If I were to go to my eraser brush and make that a little bit bigger, right now it's only 15. Let's make that like 100. Now you can see how it's bigger. And if I were to if I were to erase Lily, you see how it's got a really hard edge. Okay, I want to soften up that edge. Undo. And then, so let's go back into the brush properties here, and hardness is 0. Make it nice soft. So now there's like a nice soft thing. So now, undo. Actually, Control Z, right? And actually, now if I were to do Erase Lily now, you see how it's like full strength? Control Z to undo. If I change the opacity of that, that's kind of like the strength of it. Down to half, you'll see now it only kind of does it. So that allows me a little more flexibility, because now when I do that, let's make that a bit bigger. Now I'm just going to click, 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 click. Oh, maybe that's a little too much, eh? Control Z, Control Z. There, a little bit. So it just kind of looks like she's coming out of the water a little bit. Now I can erase this guy in the background here a little bit, but I'm going to save that. I've been throwing a lot at you right now, and so that's I'm not going to get into that right now. Let's go. Let's back up. And so now we've got Lily the dog is now surfing instead. Okay, so that's your little mini introductory assignment. We're going to keep going with it. Good luck with Photopea.